Alright, my fellow agents, welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and the first thing I'm going to say as we start this video off is that if you already know the difference between crafting an exotic and reconfiguring one, do not waste your time watching this video. You already know exactly what I'm going to talk about. Now, the main reason I've chosen to put this together really quick is because, as most of you know, we are in the middle of the 2025 winter event. People have been jumping back into the game. You've been getting the Eagle Bear, the Regulus, the Ouroboros, and you want to change one of the attributes. And unfortunately, a lot of you out there think you're creating an additional exotic when you're just reconfiguring the original one. And when that happens, you destroy it, then you delete it, and then all of a sudden you can't find what you're looking for in your inventory. And that's user error, so I want to help you avoid making that mistake. Now, as always, we're going to jump right into the details, and if you happen to enjoy this, do me a favor and hit that like button. It truly helps the channel out. And if you want to stay up to speed on all things Division, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button as well. Now, when it comes to reconfiguration, the first thing you need to do when you get a new exotic is obviously mark it as a favorite, and then you want to go to the base of ops, talk to Anaya, and she's going to have the blueprints for the new exotic you picked up. Now, once I click on this, you can see I do have the blueprint for the Regulus, the Hunter Killer, and the Tempest as well. The next thing you're going to do is buy the blueprints. Once you have done that, you will then make your way to the crafting bench, which is right next door. And then I'm going to walk you through step by step the difference between reconfiguration when it comes to an exotic weapon and actually crafting one. So I don't know why I backed up there. Let's actually get close to the crafting station as well. We're trying for that cinematic feel this morning. All right, so anyway. We are focusing on exotic weapons for this video because you have the ability to reconfigure an exotic weapon until you get the third attribute of your liking. And for the purpose of this video, we're going to focus on the Eagle Bear because I know a lot of you out there finally got this weapon and it may not have that third attribute you're looking for. So as you can see on screen, I happen to have 2 Eagle Bears in my inventory, which brings me to the first important detail, and that is you need to make sure you're paying attention to what you're actually going to reconfigure. You don't want to accidentally reconfigure the wrong weapon. Now, I happen to know this is the correct version because I am trying to change that third attribute from swap speed to something else, and as soon as I select it, I get a notification from the game saying, hey, this is marked as a favorite, are you sure you want to reconfigure it? And my answer is yes. Now, once you've selected the proper weapon, make sure you have enough resources to reconfigure it, and then you're going to hit the craft button, and again, we are doing this for that third attribute, which can be any random bonus in the game, and I'll talk about that in a second. Now, this takes us to the most important detail about this video, and that is when it comes to reconfiguration, you are never crafting an additional exotic. You are destroying the first one and creating a new one in its place. So if you remember, the first version of this weapon had swap speed. Now it has crit hit damage. I don't want that. Let's say I want damage to armor, or let's say damage to targets out of cover. I need to reconfigure the same weapon over and over and over again until I get the version I want. Which means, once again, I select the weapon that I want to reconfigure. I'm doing that right now. We are once again going to hit that craft button, and let's see if we can get damage to targets out of cover. So let's see what we get this time, my friends. We get damage to armor. Now, because I simply do not want to waste any more resources when it comes to this weapon, because again, I'm just doing this for the purpose of the video, we are going to suspend disbelief and pretend this is exactly the version of the Eagle Bear that I want, which means the next step is going to be marking it as a favorite. That way I cannot accidentally delete it, because that's the problem people are running into. They're destroying things they don't mean to, and then it's gone and you're all pissed off. I want to help you, like I said earlier, avoid that problem. Now, with all that being said, I'm sure some of you out there are thinking, well, this isn't anything new. We've had this in the game for a minute. And you are correct in that, but you also need to remember that a lot of people are jumping back into the game for a bunch of different reasons right now. First of all, there's a lot of hype with Survivors coming out next year. Secondly, there's been a ton of hype about the 2025 winter event and the fact that the drop rates for certain exotics have been much higher than they've been before. I've been hearing from people nonstop saying they finally got the Eagle Bear, the Regulus, the Ouroboros, things like that. And remember, a lot of these players, if they stepped away for a while, they're jumping back in and they're learning that you can now actually craft certain exotics by playing Retaliation, getting the blueprints, and then getting all the different resources you need. And that gives you the ability to craft an exotic you may have never gotten before for the first time. So once again, I hope this clears up any confusion you may have had on the subject. And as always, if you have any other questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. On that note, I'm going to start to wrap this video up. However, as always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible continued support. I have been receiving your messages in regard to some builds you like to see. I'm working on an Eagle Bear build, a Regulus build, an Ouroboros run and gun build, which I was going to do today, but that may be tomorrow, whatever. You're going to see it this week. I can promise you that. Last but not least, I want to remind you that now is the time to farm for these exclusive exotics. I'm going to leave a link to a video in regard to the 2025 winter event, which is now live in the game. It goes until January 6th. So please take this opportunity, farm for those winter keys, open up those caches, and hopefully get one of the items I've been talking about. That is going to do it for this video. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible continued support. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time. And as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.